Okay, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, Marvel, and Carta.
That's a great name. It's
Thank
marvelous, even.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, it's very marvelous. So, today, on this little thing we call a podcast, we are covering the new Disney Plus Marvel television series, Miss Marvel, Episode 1.
Yeah.
Which premiered on June 8th, 2022. Written by Bisha K. Ali and directed by Adil and Bilal. So, Adil and Bilal. They're a directing duo. It was entitled Generation Y. WHY, that is.
Ooh.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So, to start out here, initial reactions.
I was not overwhelmed, but I still liked it. I watched it about 2.5 times. Hopefully it'll get better. It wasn't a great first, like, usually the first episode kind of builds up a little. Then again, first Moon Knight episode didn't have a lot going on either till the end, so, but,
You see, with me, because of my experience and your experience too with watching CW shows, this felt like a first episode to me. So it felt fine for me. I didn't expect it to be out the gate like wham bam, action or anything. And I was fine with that because I like slow, origin stories, especially when they're dealing with like a teenager here. Reminded me a lot of early Flash, early Supergirl, early Stargirl, a lot. It reminds me a lot of Stargirl. Mainly it's just because it's a teenage girl who has superpowers,
Yeah.
Who also has some kind of talisman that makes her have the superpowers,
Right.
Yeah. So, and has, best friends and people that are, helping her out and stuff. Like this has her best friend that knows things. Bruno.
Her best friend that knows things. I like that.
Yep. Kind of reminded me of like the early Supergirl like things where you have similar situation where you got the guy best friend who's you can tell has a crush on the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sort of thing. It was really cool though, I mean also to see like the first like Muslim superhero and also like how we're dealing with a different culture, which is cool.
Right, and how like the sort of struggle between different generations too, like
Yeah.
the parents who are more traditional, or
Being someone who's a first generation American with it as it appears, because it feels because I'm pretty sure her parents are both from Pakistan.
right,
So,
yeah. Like at least her mom is a little bit more conservative than her dad, I think, but
Yeah.
her dad seems kind of more just sort of open-minded, it's kind of, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah, he seems a
Uh,
little bit more, but still,
yeah,
you know, it's this thing where it just seems like Marvel lately has been having this thing with moms that are kind of witches with a B or something.
which is what the
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, with Moon Knight, obviously that was different,
Yeah.
but with this, it's more of a because we're probably going to find out, something to do with Ms. Marvel's grandmother of why her mom
Yeah.
is the way it's about being so
And who knows,
like
maybe her mom was rebellious as a child and
right
that
and
might be where it's coming from too. It might not even be her grandmother.
yeah, because we have this whole thing about fantasies and reality and that
Yeah.
kind of
But we can
quick
talk a little bit more about that in speculation probably here. Um
sure
but so let's go into the episode here. What happens here?
Uh, she's her name is Kamala Khan,
Kamala,
um, or Kamala Khan.
isn't it? Is that Kamala Khan? Yeah, because it's not like the vice president. It's pronounced
No,
differently.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
why they say Kamala in the
yeah,
show, yeah,
hmm
and the different emphasis on different letter, and
yeah,
and she's like doing like making like a YouTube video with some like editing software, and she's talking about how her favorite Avenger is Captain Marvel, and how she's depicting the Battle of Earth is what it's officially called in the MCU lore, and she basically credits Captain Marvel as saving the day, which totally bypasses Wanda, whatever. But like,
but there's other people. Yeah,
she's like, I don't think anyone else could have done that. It's like, did you not hear about Wanda literally removing his armor with her magic? But okay, it's like,
there's
but
a lot of things that happen there. Um,
yeah. So she's obviously Carol is her favorite, So she's just basically recounting what happened, and she does interesting talk about how like how quote she abandoned you know the world or whatever, and she's like, well, no one knows what she's been up to this whole time, or maybe she just took a break or whatever.
yeah,
Because when she didn't take a break, she was going to like millions of other planets to try to solve their problems or help them
yeah,
out. um
because we're not the center of the universe like we like to think we are.
exactly. So she makes a video, and it kind of made me feel a lot for her because she's got 2 subscribers and like 5 views for her videos. I'm like, yep, this sounds like me.
Hmm
Put all this work into stuff, and like
Sounds like our podcast. Yeah. Anyway, so
yeah, it kind of gave me that sort of like, oh, I totally understand. uh but then again, she's 16, has more time to actually build, and I
yeah.
feel like the clock is ticking for me, just like in the Stranger Things. No, anyway, sorry, don't want you could edit that part out, but
Oh, you're good.
and so she makes a video. Her mom calls her down for her driver's test to get her license, and like her and her dad are kind of going, or the mom and dad are saying different things. Like her mom's like really strict, like you gotta make sure that you look at the mirror like 15 times or something like that. And then her dad's like, oh, you don't really need to do that. You can just pretend to do it or whatever. And then her brother's praying, and then her dad's like, if you keep praying without ever like putting in your food in your mouth, you're gonna end up like dying of starvation or
Yeah.
whatever, because like the son's like super super religious, and then like the dad's kind of more like, which is good. It's another great thing about the show is like like you get stuff like depictions from like the early 2000s, like if Muslims weren't depicted as terrorists, which almost they were almost all the time, then the quote positive spin would always be like a very stereotypical religious Muslim family where like everybody pretty much like prayed
Was
all
all
day,
exactly the
24 hours
same
a
and
day.
everything.
And so it's like not like how reality works. Like I spent a lot of time with the Muslim community for like 2 years back in the early 2000s. I mean, I went to the mosque multiple times a week. I was there for almost every big event, and I knew Muslims who openly drank alcohol, like they didn't make a secret about it,
Well,
like,
yeah.
and yet they still went to the mosque, and so it's like this idea of like this is a pure community and everybody is follows all the rules, and it's like that doesn't happen at all, like, and
There's
so you
there's
got
there's nothing that's perfect. So
no.
no.
So you got the super religious son who's probably got his own things that they don't know about yet, and then you got the dad who's kind of seems like he's more culturally Muslim as opposed to like super religious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then even the mom though too, because the mom, she's not wearing a hijab or a headscarf,
Yeah.
and Kamala doesn't wear one, so it's like they're not like that strict. You know what I mean? In some
hmm
ways, but in other ways they are, though. At least the mom is. When it comes to like you know cultural stuff, like she doesn't want her dressing a certain way. And anyway, kind of going off track here,
Yeah.
but
So
like
basically though, what we end up having is she goes to her driving test. She hits a car behind her. Which happens to be the driver's instructor's car. So, or what, or the tester, whoever. What do you want to call that guy? Who is that when you take a test?
Like instructor, maybe?
No, that instructor is usually the person that's teaching you how to drive. This is the guy,
Oh
the
yeah,
tester,
right.
maybe driving tester or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
something like that. Anyways, that guy, she hits his car, so of course she doesn't get her license, and she was hoping to have her license so she could both help out with things with her family, so she could basically use that as a bargaining chip to go to this thing called AvengerCon with her friend Bruno. Um, Bruno, his family runs a bodega or carry out called Circle Q, which is right out of the comics. And I think his family like lives above it. That hasn't
Yeah.
been like made abundantly clear, but I think that's what it is in the comics at least. And I don't know, did they mention it in the show?
Well, it does show him going into there and then going upstairs.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
his family lives above it. Anyways, the he's helping her make a really kick-ass Captain Marvel costume for this contest at the AvengerCon, this cosplay contest. Um, and so she ends up trying to. Before this, actually, we did have an incident at the school where
oh, yeah.
she's hanging out with her couple of her friends, Bruno and this girl. What was the girl's name?
I remember.
Uh, do do do. Yasmin Fletcher.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Um. So she was hanging out with Yasmin and Bruno, and she no, oh no, that's the actress. Sorry, Nakia is the character's name. I transposed those when I was reading it. Um, sorry, folks. Um, but yeah, the basically, she has an incident where she runs into this girl when they're going up the stairs. Um, the girl is named Zoe. She's like the most popular girl in high school. Your prom queen wannabe sort of character. Um,
She also has 80,000 followers on her YouTube page or whatever, or
yeah,
Twitter. Or
which is creepy. Anyway, so the
well, it's just to sort of juxtapose how she's got like
yeah, I
five
know.
suspenders, and yet she's got like 80,000 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Teenagers that have that many followers just is creepy to me. Um,
That's the new social
yeah, I know it
medias
is. It's just creepy.
world.
It's still
Yeah.
creepy. I guess I'm getting old. Um, the anyways, they run into each other. She says, "Oh, nice," you know. They literally run into each other, not like run into each other. But
Yeah.
she says, "Oh, nice coat" to Zoe, and Zoe tells her that she's got a nice necklace. She tries to explain to her that the necklace is her name in Arabic, and there's kind of like a, you know, okay, whatever sort of thing. Um,
Yeah, like this. So
yeah, you still can't tell. I mean, it's like Zoe seems like she's trying to be nice, but still is kind of
yeah,
stuck up, So it's one of those things where at least she's not a cut and dry, mean girl sort of thing.
yeah.
Um,
I heard in the comic book she was a little bit more like that, like
yeah.
a little bit more like even racist somewhat,
Oh,
and
okay. I hope they don't
yeah.
make her that way because I mean, they probably won't because it's on Disney Plus. But
Well, no, people already said she's acting different than how she is in the
yeah,
comics.
because I mean, the thing is, in reality, people have deeper you know personalities than just the flat one that they usually show to the outside world.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the story. She has this weird interaction with this guy Gabe Wilson, who's their high school counselor, basically telling her like, you got to get your life together, sort of thing. And he's all trying to be hip and cool and stuff. Um,
Yeah, the hip guidance counselor. Yeah,
yeah.
I hate that motif so much.
Mm-hmm.
Quit trying to relate to me.
Yeah. And
How dare you?
but anyways, so she ends up asking her parents if she can go to this convention. They basically tell her no because they're worried about her her mom keeps saying she doesn't trust her. Her dad says that no, I just don't trust everybody else. And
Yeah.
she's pointing out the fact that if it was her brother, they would let him go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, and I mean that could be a sexist thing, or it could be the fact that her heads are in the clouds and his really aren't. You know, as to why
Yeah.
they wouldn't let her go, but might let him if he wanted to. So then they decide that they want to let her go, but only if her dad can go with her dressed up like the Incredible Hulk and she'd be Little Hulk. Because they think that Captain Marvel's suit is too skimpy.
Right, yeah.
Which it isn't at all.
Well, it's quote tight,
Yeah.
not but even that is, quote revealing to
Yeah.
conservative
Oh, I know.
people's minds. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it
I'm
makes
just
sense.
saying
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just from my own experience in the Muslim community, there is a lot of that
Oh yeah,
kind
and
of
I understand it. I'm just saying that
yeah.
from a standpoint, it's not like she's in I don't know, trying to think of another costume like Wonder Woman's costume or something, you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, something that's more revealing or like or even in the MCU like Black Widow's costume or something.
Yeah.
Um the but anyways, they go they say no. She says no, I don't want to go, you know. It would be embarrassing to go with my dad dressed up like the Incredible Hulk. Um
Well, for one thing, his costume was ridiculous,
well yeah.
and hers looked even worse. So it's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, I mean it did have this whole like, kind of Pakistani sort of vibe to it too, like where they were bringing some of the culture into the costume,
yeah,
which could be a good thing. But then so her and Bruno devise this plan to or she does basically to get to it, where this like really cool plan, and they show it animated and everything, and show everything that's going on and what they're going to do, where they're going to sneak onto a bus and sneak out of the house and get on a bus and go to the thing
right, yeah.
and have like the coolest costumes ever and all this other stuff.
And she obviously wins, and
Yeah,
and gets the crown that's made of diamonds. Like, no.
yeah. Prior to this, Bruno, who's like a tech genius, had designed a kind of an Alexa sort of thing called Zuzu, which I'm like, why didn't they just spend $20 on Amazon and buy a fucking? Okay, anyway, so
Exactly. But yeah, exactly.
um, so it basically built it for Kamala's dad, um, so he could turn on and off all of his electronics and change the channels on his TV and all that stuff, everything that an Alexa or a Siri device sort of does, So,
But it was Bruno that made it for him, so it's
mhm.
special, I guess,
Yeah, and
or
he was calling it
something.
magic and all this other stuff. So, anyways, they use
Yeah.
that to help them sneak out, where it will play sounds kind of Ferris Bueller like, where when you try to get
Right.
into the door, that makes it look like she's still in her bedroom. Make it sound like she's still in the bedroom. You know,
Right. It's like literally
it's,
like Ferris Bueller's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then anyways, they sneak out to the thing, but nothing goes as planned because they end up leaving late. They get the second bus to the thing. She loses her bike when she's trying to get on the bus.
Yeah, because the bus driver's an asshole that
Yeah,
wouldn't even
why
let
would you
her.
not? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
And
I guess that's Jersey for you.
yeah, Jersey City, um, filmed in Georgia, but because it wasn't Jersey. Anyway, so yeah, it looks like Georgia. Um, I mean, they kind of made it look like it, I guess.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Um, but the so they go to the convention. Um, when they see Zoe's there and are all like like what the fuck is she doing here, sort of thing, and
Exactly. It's like, what are you doing here? You're popular. You're not supposed to like this stuff. And it's like, wait, but superheroes are popular, so it actually make perfect sense for her to be
Mm-hmm.
there. So the argument makes no sense. Uh,
And anyways, that yeah, I mean that'd be like, oh, I can't believe the popular person likes Dua Lipa or something. You know what I mean? It's just like what
right,
the
exactly.
no,
Oh boy.
I don't know why I brought her up, but I'm just like whoever. Whoever the popular singer is at the time when this is listened to. The
Yeah.
the but anyways, they end up you see a lot of cool shit at the convention. Um then we see we end up having the cosplay competition, and she Bruno had created these like photon gloves for her that would light up, so she would be really cool and win. But
Yeah.
he
That's really
suggested to
cool.
her that maybe she bring something Pakistani into the costume, and she ended up there was this package that came earlier that I forgot to mention from her noni, which is her grandmother, that had a bunch of junk in it that she kept sending to the family, and it was up in the attic. And one of them was this bangle bracelet. And even though they're spelled differently, I just wanted to point out something I noticed while watching it the second time.
Uh,
The mascot of the school are the Bengals, like the tiger,
oh yeah, that's right.
and she wears a bangle with a A.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
don't know if
plus,
that was on purpose, but it probably was. Um,
I had also heard that the Bengal tiger actually originates from Pakistan, or at least that
really,
region of the world.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh, true, but I think it was Screen Crush said something like that.
Yeah,
So I'd have to look into it, but
yeah, because I only noticed it the second time. Because I didn't watch any of the videos really about this. So, um, anyways, then she enters the contest. She leaves the gloves in the bathroom where she was changing. She goes up on stage. She finally gets the bangle open and puts it on her wrist, so she has like some some personal flair in the costume. And all of a sudden, she has like these powers where she's shooting out these like things that are also messing up with like electronics and stuff.
yeah.
And what else happens here?
Um, well, she's doing that. Well, before that, she had this weird surge of energy where it looked like she went into some like weird like other dimension for a second. I don't know if that was, or maybe not. Maybe she was
Yeah,
just seeing
I think it was a
like
different dimension. I'm pretty sure.
like it looked like there was people there, but then she kind of
Mm-hmm.
like went upside down and then went back into like her normal world or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's like she's shooting out this weird. It's like just like a straight line of like looked like a road or something. But then she ended up accidentally shooting at the giant head of Ant-Man, like when he's in like the giant
When he's
version.
Giant Man. Yeah.
And then it ends up, and they're all like freaking out, like plot, like yeah, like she's definitely the winner. But then the head falls off and starts like rolling like all over the place. So people are like running away and stuff. And then and then eventually causes like a giant Thor's hammer to come loose, and so that starts swaying, back and forth, and then
It
um,
gets Zoe.
gets Zoe right after Zoe's like that's so cool. Do you do parties or whatever? And I don't know. I don't think she knows it's Kamala, does she?
No, no, because Kamala's got a mask on, so
Yeah, she doesn't really quite know. But then
and people in shows like this are stupid and can't realize that somebody with a mask that you can clearly
exactly,
see who it is underneath her. Yeah,
or
anyway, so
or even hear their voice, which you could tell it's
yeah.
them. But anyway, yeah. Uh, so she's like about the it's like about to fall down on her, and then or at least the head of the big, I don't remember which, something's about to fall on her, and so then Kamala basically like conjures like a hand essentially to like catch her,
Yeah, she she saves her
like
when she's about to fall to the ground. And then
like
they run out of there.
yeah,
Um Bruno and
they
her.
make her run for it because they don't want the cops to be like catch up with them or whatever.
And so then we have she gets home. It's about 11:11 at night, it says. So,
Yeah.
and she sneaks into her window, and of course her mom's waiting for her in her bedroom, and basically, tells her that, I've seen what, dream, these, you gotta, you gotta live in the real world and not have your head in the clouds and all this other shit, you know,
Right.
and being a concerned mother. And then she goes to bed, and then we have the credits, and we do have a mid credit scene where we see the Department of Damage Control, which we were introduced to in Spider-Man: No Way Home, and we see Agent Cleary, who we saw in that movie, questioning Peter Parker, and then we see this other agent named Sadie Deaver, and they're watching a video on a phone of the incident at AvengerCon, and they're heading to New Jersey to detain her.
Yep.
And that's where we end. You want to take a break here really quick, and then we can talk about a little bit of speculation here?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
Yeah.
And we are back.
Yeah.
Back. Okay, so any other thoughts here before we get into a little bit of speculation here?
No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, my one thing I want to say is I really like the style of the show. The animation in it and everything, which is pretty sweet, where there's like animation on buildings and different things that she's, because you kind of feel like you're inside her imagination the whole time,
Yeah, like when she's drawing pictures and stuff, or like
and then there's like things that are randomly on the brick buildings and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, when she's like texting, you can see like frown faces on the streets and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool style. Kind of feels like a comic book in a way too.
Yeah.
And if you're hearing some motorcycles or stuff in the background here, there's a car show going on down the block from my apartment. So,
Okay.
yeah. So just
Oh,
letting
cool.
folks know that that's what that noise is.
I don't hear anything. Maybe.
Yeah. I keep hearing them, so I don't know if they're being picked up by the microphone or not. But if they are, I'm sorry, folks. It is what it is. So, where do you think this is going?
I have no idea, really.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They haven't really set up like a villain yet, or
No. Unless you
far as I
consider like
know.
the DODC as a villain,
I mean, yeah, that could be one of it. I mean, like, because weren't they? Wasn't that also the group that pretty much like caused the villain of the first Spider-Man movie, the Vulture, though? Because didn't they take over his cleaning up of like the
They
mess?
might have. I'm trying to
So I
remember.
think-
It's
I
been
think
so long
they've-
since I've seen that, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they've been around since Spider-Man Home, because that was the timeline was all screwed up with that, because
Yeah.
that was like 2019. I was like, wait a minute, that's supposed to be, like
Yeah. A
I don't
different
know
year.
how-
But yeah.
they made a mistake with that, which is weird because they'd already made plans for
Oh, yeah.
like the end game and stuff. So I'm not even sure how they even fucked that up, but whatever.
Who knows?
Or it could have been maybe they thought that maybe they couldn't get the rights to Spider-Man for that long, so they just thought maybe they could do one movie and that was it, because their whole.
But that still wouldn't matter about the timeline.
It wouldn't,
So
no.
yeah. So but anyways, but we do know they were in No Way Home though, so and they were basically after Peter was outed as who he was as Spider-Man, so
Yeah.
what I mean, I don't know what their end game here with with Kamala is. So we'll see.
And do we know the timeline of what's going on here? Like when this show takes place?
I think it's taking like right now. Like
Right now, okay.
yeah, like it's after. It's obviously after Thanos is defeated, and
yeah.
I'm assuming it's after the events of No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, because she does make a few references to some things that are like newer, I think.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you talked about how Scott Lang has a podcast.
Yeah, that was funny in the beginning. That I mean, I personally would listen to that if they did. Like if Marvel decided to make some kind of podcast where they had Paul Rudd interview the other actors, but in character.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool. And how she says that she's got a theory that Thor is secretly a gamer, which is a callback to Endgame when he's playing games with what's his name?
With Korg.
Korg and Meek, yeah. And like, so it's true. He was a gamer for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate thing I'd really like to see, and I hope they do it by the end of this series, is maybe we see Carol Danvers or Maria Rambeau or something in this, or not is it Maria? Monica Rambeau.
Monica,
yeah. Maria's her mom. Sorry.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to see one or both of them in this.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I don't really know much about. I mean, I haven't really done much research about the character, which is weird because
she's a newer character too in the comics. She's only been around since like the mid 2010s, I think.
Yeah, I was hoping.
So, yeah.
Like when she first came out, I was like really excited, about like a Muslim character, and then like I just didn't buy any issues.
Yeah.
So
Miss Marvel, I mean, Carol Danvers used to be Miss Marvel's in the comics, and her powers and everything are different in the comics than they are here, which are pissing a lot of people off. But a lot of the things is like her powers in the comics are more akin to like Mr. Fantastic, where she can like change into different shapes and stuff. Like
I see. Well, she sort of did that with the hand thing.
Yeah, but that's more like, this is more like an external thing. Like in the comics, she gets it from some kind of she was an Inhuman in the comics where she isn't here. And there was some kind of gas or something that was released in around Jersey City and other places that like awakened people, and that's how she got her powers. It had nothing to do with any kind of bangle bracelet or anything.
It reminds me of like the plot of Zombies, that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The like Disney movie or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Because my niece makes me watch it now.
Gotcha.
I've seen that, but because that was about a gas, wasn't it too? That like
I think so. I've only seen part of the one. So
well, I think that's what it was. Literally, that's what like some weird gas caused them to become zombies, or I don't know. And then but. So yeah, I don't know much. I don't really know like her villains, in the comics. I
don't either. Villain. We'll have to see where they go, and hopefully, and I mean the thing is like they don't have to stick to the comics, but they're sticking to the style of the comics, but they're not sticking to the origin, which is cool because I think tying the origin more into her family and her heritage makes it kind of cool, as opposed to just being some kind of thing she was born with,
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's like, like when you make like a movie or show different than like a books. I mean, it's like those things were made for those particular mediums. Yeah. So it's like you can't like just take a comic book and make it into a movie because it won't look as good or like whatever. Like Well,
it's like this guy in this one Marvel group I belong to on Facebook. He keeps posting these pictures and he's like, why don't they have Miss Marvel or Carol Danvers like Miss Marvel version in this really skimpy outfit that she has in the comic books? Why didn't they put that on screen? And he does it about like every female character. Like all he wants to see is them in skimpy outfits on the screen. And he says it would be more comic book accurate. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay. Yeah, just go watch some porn, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You don't need like
you can watch superhero porn too. I mean, it probably exists, I'm sure.
Probably. So yeah, you could just go ahead and live out your fantasy of Captain Marvel or Wonder Woman or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully not Kamala because she's 16, but like so yeah.
Yeah, because he was upset that they basically made this version of Miss Marvel and not the Carol Danvers one.
Well, no, because it's based off of this comic
and the
book.
thing is, you already introduced Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. You can't.
You already have her in 3 movies already,
Exactly.
so like, yeah, I think you got her in 3 movies. You got her in Endgame, and then her regular movie, and then she was also in Shang-Chi at the very end.
She was in Shang-Chi. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
and
just.
By the way,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say that, you know how like the incels, and all these people had like a big deal that her hair was short in Endgame.
Yeah.
But then her hair was long again in Shang-Chi, and like they didn't praise that. So like, well, I thought you wanted her long hair back. What happened?
Oh no, they just
nothing makes you happy, right?
They just hate Brie Larson because she.
They do, like nothing pleases them. It's like her hair's long again. Yeah, of course.
Just like people are hating this because there's Muslims in it, and
come on.
It's just because other things exist doesn't mean you don't exist anymore, people. So
no, those are the rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's replacement.
Pie, man.
Replacement theory stuff is bullshit. Anyway, so but it's just sad that it's so watchable and stuff on YouTube and listenable on podcasts and other places and readable online, where it's like hate sells so easily, and it's just sad.
Well, our brains are wired for trauma, and they're wired for fight or flight mechanisms. So it's basic, it's brain science and neuroscience, whatever. So you're going to, it's just built into our brains that we're going to be more enticed by a story of something that's really like bad or just really exciting, as opposed to like, oh, someone grew some strawberries today, and like that's just our brains they're wired that way, right? So people figure that out eventually, and they're like, okay, well, now we know how to exploit this, right? So that's just how it is, Sucks, but it's you have to learn. It kind of sucks that humans, we're not really as perfect as we think we are, because we're pretty much programmed really badly, if you think about it. Like, we're programmed for the bad stuff, and we need to learn the good stuff.
It's like the other thing too. It's like Miss Marvel has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's even above Black Panther's 96% score.
Interesting.
But that's from critics.
Yeah.
We have it with a 22.2% user review.
Okay.
Because they're review bombing it like they did.
Oh,
Captain
okay.
Marvel.
Yeah, I figured it would be something like that. Yeah.
There's no way that there is that. Yeah.
That low of a.
Oh no, these are actually no. It's not 22%. That's the number of reviews that are a 1-star review, or 22% of the reviews.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sorry, I misread the article. But yeah, they're trying to make it the lowest rated Marvel TV show.
Yeah. Blah blah blah.
Because they don't like a strong person of color.
Well, it's like plus two. It's like that shit's not going to work anymore because everyone knows you're doing it now. So it's like it's not sneaky.
That's why I think stuff like Rotten Tomatoes and other things are just pointless, anyways. I mean, for example, like even critics reviews, like the critics all hated the new Jurassic Park movie that just came out, but it's getting really good reviews from fans. Not all of them, but some.
Right.
But I mean, it's getting average reviews, not like like the reviews you would expect for it. I went and saw it, and I liked it. I didn't think it was nearly as good as like the first movie in the Jurassic Park saga, but nothing is. It's like, But yeah,
it kind of reminds me of the reverse too of what they did with Morbius, where they sarcastically made it seem like it was better than it was, and then Sony actually doesn't understand what trolling is, or online trolling is. So they're like, oh my god, people love us. They're saying it's Morbid time, And so, like, we're gonna re-release it in the theaters. It only got $85,000 in the entire country from all the movie theaters combined. And it was like, I'm sitting there thinking, I was telling my brother, I was like, I don't know if I should cry or laugh at the fact that like there's people right now working for Sony in that like in the marketing department who are probably making it at minimum six figures a year, and we're struggling with our podcast, and they don't understand what internet trolling is. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh my god, like we're getting like 100% approval rating in our movie. People must love us. That's just like, dude, like. You never been in a situation where like people pretend to like you, but they're doing it as
it's the Carrie situation, like the Stephen King's Carrie. You know, you
Yeah.
you vote the nerdy girl as prom queen, and then you dump pig's blood on her head. You know.
But instead of this, it was, vampire blood,
Yeah.
Morbius.
So,
It's Morbin time. It's like, come on. Like, really, like, it's Morbin time. Like, nobody would, like, they didn't think that was, like, a sarcastic comment. Like,
or
like
a
my
parody of
favorite
Mighty
part.
Morphin Power Rangers or anything.
Yeah, well, no, because someone wrote a tweet. My favorite part of Morbius is when he says, it's Morbin time, and he morbed all over those guys. Like, come on. You have to be completely stupid to not understand that was like sarcasm. And then there's another guy who's like, I missed the birth of my, even what he says, of my wife's child. So that could go either two ways right there. Does he mean his child or his wife's child? Because that could imply that it's someone else's child. You know what I mean? And because I had to go see Morbius for the 135th time. I love this movie so much. I mean, you got to be the most dense person
if you really think somebody was able to see it that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe Sony thought like, oh, maybe people will see it sarcastically, but then they didn't even do that. So it's just like, oh god, maybe we should review that because I heard it's so terrible.
Yeah. We'll do that for our Crisis on Infinite Films in the future here, I'm sure.
Okay.
Anyways, any final thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No.
Okay, so yeah, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. We got a YouTube channel now. Check it out. Check out our TeePublic where you can get some cool shirts. Maybe some even newer ones soon. Maybe we'll get a it's Morbin time shirt out there.
Yeah, it's Morbin time.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, be good to each other, people. That's all I ask. I think we can.
That's all I ask.
That's all I keep asking every week here on this show lately.
Yeah.
But until next time, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to ALL2REELTOO podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.